see. This,
There you go.
Yeah, that's different than the other one.
You gonna get
Yeah,
rolling?
that's not gonna go over well.
Almost on.
Waiting on her?
Tom, we just have a quick question. For the short-term rentals. We were doing that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was
I had it 150, not 1,500. It might have been a typo.
mercantiles on it. Yeah,
That's for the fines, right?
for the fine.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay.
how does this work?
I want to go and change that right now.
It's gonna be a jam-packed agenda on January.
We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it over with.
They should thank us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Thomas.
Say yes, Mike, just say yes. Okay, we're good?
Yes.
This meeting is called to order. Everyone, please rise for the flag salute. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bruno?
Here.
Councilmember DePanthelis?
Here.
Councilmember Dill?
Here.
Councilmember McCary?
Here.
Councilmember McGuigan?
Here.
Councilmember Owen?
Here.
Council President Johnston?
Here. Also present is Mayor Glasser, Administrator Frost, City Clerk Samuelson, City Solicitor Smith, and Engineer Schneider. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. The agenda for this meeting is posted in City Hall and on the city's website, summerspointgov.org. Mr. Havercorn, how's our sound check back there? Okay, thank you. Before we start, we just need to, resolution number 227, we're going to pull that one for tonight off the agenda. And I ask for a motion to, to waive the 48-hour rule for resolution number 231.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to add resolution number 231. And we're going to do resolution number 231 first in the interest of everyone's time. Yep.
Resolution number 231 of 2022, saluting the efforts of Carol Milligan and Lisa Mell to support the Community Food Bank of New Jersey.
May I have a motion to open to the public for discussion on resolution number 231 only?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ooh, any opposed?
Is that thunder?
We're now yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Wow.
We're now open for public comment on resolution number 231. If anyone wishes to speak, please come forward. Motion to close?
Second. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now open, we're now closed to public comment. Resolution number 231, please.
Resolution number 231 of 2022, saluting the efforts of Carol Milligan and Lisa Mell to support the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Whereas the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, a member of Feeding America, is the leading anti-hunger and anti-poverty organization in the state of New Jersey. And whereas the Community Food Bank of New Jersey's mission is to fight hunger and poverty in New Jersey by assisting those in need and seeking long-term solutions, they engage, educate, and empower all sectors of society in the battle. And whereas many of our neighbors face challenges in keeping food on the table and their families fed during these uncertain economic times, and whereas longtime Summers Point residents Carol Milligan and Lisa Mell recognize the need to support our neighbors in need and the food bank, especially during this holiday season. And whereas for the past few years, these two ladies have reached out to their circle of friends and families and organized a holiday happy hour food drive. And whereas this year's event was held on Monday, December 12th at the iconic restaurant and tavern, Gregory's, and was a huge success by any measure with lots of good cheer and fellowship shared while a pickup truck was filled to the point of overflowing with various canned goods, and over $600 was raised, all to be delivered to the food bank. And now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of City Summers Point, on behalf of our citizens, salute the efforts of Mrs. Lisa Mell and Mrs. Carol Milligan, as well as their generosity in support of a very worthwhile cause. And it is further resolved that the City Council of Summers Point notes that Carol and Lisa are two of many shining stars in this community that help make Summers Point a great place to live. And it is further resolved that the City Council wishes Lisa and Carol, as well as their families, a healthy and happy holiday season and a Merry Christmas.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any comments?
Madam President,
Yes.
Lisa and Carol could have chose to stay home on Monday and play with your grandchildren or your dogs or watch TV. Or you could have chose, like a lot of times, just go out with your friends and enjoy fellowship and everything. But you have decided, and it's in you, to create an event, no matter what the size, it matters. And you made a difference. And you're, like it says in this resolution, you're a shining star, and there are many in this community, but you are two of the brightest. And we know a lot of stars. I am very proud that I was at that event. I'm very proud of you too. And I hope that you continue, and I know you will. And like I said on the telephone earlier today, you know, you're an example for other people to emulate. And, you know, it's a special thing. And I'm glad that the City Council and our president here agreed to make these resolutions available. Thank you, Madam President.
Yeah, he wants
Okay.
you to do the honors.
You have to-
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 231 is approved. Mr. McGuigan, will you do the honors?
Sure. All right, Lisa and Carol have to come forward and say a few words. Your families, I know they're very proud of you, and they should be. Now you want to say a few words?
No, but thank you, everybody. I
No,
will say
thank-
something short.
thank you.
Bob, we get this, and we're both very appreciative of it, and I'm gonna ball my eyes out, because it does make you feel really good. However, everybody that walked through that door Monday night is responsible for the progress that we made over the last 4 years. We have very generous friends, and you think, you know, the way the economy's going, it wasn't gonna turn out, and then it turns out to be the best one we ever generosity. Summer Sweet people rock.
Okay.
This would probably be a good time to leave unless you're interested. Unless you're interested in government.
Do you feel better? Do you feel better now?
Yeah. Very nice.
That was very nice.
That was a nice crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any communications to offer? Hearing none? Mr. Mayor?
Well, good evening. Wow, there's been so much going on since we last met. I'm going to start off with what a great job that was done with the Christmas parade and holiday parade. It came down here a couple of weeks ago. Everybody that worked on it, Doug, Ashley, Shana, Julianne, the police, Public Works, Jason, everyone worked together. Of course, the Historic Society opened up, and they had Santa next door, and it was just a great night. And for those of us who walked in, and anybody that's ever walked in our Christmas parades understands the feeling that you get when you come down Shore Road, and there were so many people here on the City Hall's grounds, and it's just a beautiful night for all. And I want to thank everybody who was involved with it, and especially the city. Also, another great event that happened that weekend was Pearl Harbor Day, which the sub-vets put on. It's just something we cannot forget. It's something that's a very memorial occasion. And we're lucky that the sub-vets and the AMVETS and American Legion and Legion Riders do participate and put it down together. So I understand some correspondence that, speaking of veterans, Marion Regional High School's music department, along with the Support Our Troops Club, proudly present a winter concert and military salute. Special performance by the concert band, symphonic band, wind ensemble, and MHS cheerleaders, Wednesday, December 21st, 2022, from 12:30 to 1:30 down at the high school. So everybody's invited to that. Last weekend, we had a very nice Christmas mart at one of the mansion's grounds, which I'm glad to see that those grounds are being so utilized lately. We had the market this summer. Now we had the Christmas mart, and of course with the tree lighting afterwards. So it turned out really well with that. And again, my kudos go out to everybody who's involved with that, the Patriots, et cetera, who worked so hard on it. Just to mention Walt Gregory and Donna Moore and Greg Sikora and all the folks who are involved in that organization to put it together, and really did a nice job with that. On Veterans Day, of course, we had our service here, but we also had the Otto Schmidt dedication over at the Legion. And again, our thanks go out to Public Works and Police Department for closing down the street and doing everything they can and setting up everything in here for doing the Veterans Day, because as you remember, it was pouring that day. And last but not least is just remember to light up Summers Point. I think that's a great thing we try to do every year throughout the city is, if you want your name, or not your name, but your address on our website, which Doug Shawcross has put together, send your name into him or send your address to him and we'll put it up there. But I just ask everybody to just, if you can, put a wreath, a candle, it's just, it's a great time this season to be joyful, and that shows it. And with that, behalf of my family, and happy holidays to all, because this will be the last time we meet before the new year, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Frost?
Yes, I have nothing.
Okay. No news is good news, I guess, right? Mr. Smith?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes, I have a number of items I want to go over. First, we're wrapping up the construction for the year, for the winter. Next week, the paving on Wilson, Whitman, and DeFeo is scheduled, so we can hopefully get that done before the weather closes in. The 2022 road program was completed this week on Dartmouth and Rutgers. Also, bids were received for the Bay Avenue lighting project. I am recommending that we reject the bids because only one bid was received and it was over budget. So we'll try to rebid that and get some more competition, get a better price for that. And also the bike path amenity project was bid. That did come under budget, under the grant amount, but we haven't heard back from the state. They have to give our approval. That's the reason we had to remove that from the agenda tonight. I was hoping we would get something today, but we didn't. I did want to go over some of the projects we completed this year in 2022. We completely repaved West Atlantic Avenue. There was 2 phases, Phase 1 and 2. Phase 1 was a $300,000 grant the city received from the DOT. Phase 2 was a $350,000 grant that the city received. We also installed bike lanes along Mays Landing Road. That was another $130,000 grant the city received. As far as stormwater repairs, the city replaced approximately 1 mile of stormwater that was in poor condition and was failing, in part due to the American Rescue Funds. The city also received the MPP planning grant for the historic district. That was $125,000, and that's $125,000 for the next 5 years. Going along with that grant, the city received a grant to replace the Bay Avenue lights, which I just talked about, the bid. That was $154,000. This year was our 5-year renewal for CRS, which is the community rating system, which is for flood insurance discounts. The city was able to retain their discount this year as a result of the audit. The city also received a FEMA planning grant for flood mitigation on Bay Avenue. That was for $145,875. And the bike path amenities grant, which we just received bids for, that was a grant of $165,000. Those were all the projects in 2022. Looking forward to 2023, the city has received a grant for Ocean Avenue Phase 1 in the amount of $350,000, and for Phase 2, which is $261,640. And I was just notified 2 days ago that the city received a grant for Shore Road for pedestrian improvements from the DOT for $861,000.
That's great.
There was only 29 municipalities that were awarded grants in the state, and Summers Point was the second highest.
Keep them grants
Great,
coming.
that's great.
How much was that grant, $800?
$861,000.
Nice. One question, Ocean Avenue Phase 1 and Phase 2 is west of the bike path, or?
Phase 1 is from Steelman to the bike path. Phase 2 is from the bike path to Shore Road.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to add, the reason Summers Point gets these grants has a lot to do with Mr. Snyder's work and being prepared when we apply for all these. So thank you for all that. Okay, committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report to offer?
Madam President,
Yes.
if I may, I just want to touch on our solar project at DeFeo Lane.
Good.
Obviously, it's been taking quite a bit of time, but most of that is due to the Board of Public Utilities and the process of getting that approved, and that's now approved. and we're now, the contractor is working out the permit applications, and that project should speed up considerably in the coming months here.
Good news.
And the other thing I'd like to touch on is, in Budget and Finance, there was a front-page article in the Atlantic City Press a couple days ago noting that the ACUA is increasing their tipping fees by 11% in 2023, and their wastewater fees are going to go up by 8%. And I know that the ACUA communicated that directly to our administrative staff. So keep in mind that we now have to overcome 11% increase in tipping fees and an 8% increase in the wastewater. So it just adds to the pile of economic challenges that we're going to face. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? I'll give the committee, the short-term rental committee report recommendations. We met in our research here. We met with the police department, code enforcement, the city clerk's office, everyone that's involved in the process of a short-term rental. And these are the recommendations that the committee is making for some changes to the ordinance. Requiring a mercantile license for a fee of $150, and it needs to be renewed annually. And to get that mercantile license, you have to have the property inspected, and it would also need to be inspected each year when you renew your mercantile. And the annual inspection fee of $250. If the inspection fails for any reason, the reinspection fee would be $100. Also adding to the mercantile license itself some language for certification of self-compliance, that the applicant is required to comply with all ordinances that are in order. The mercantile license is to be displayed in a visible location on the front of the home. Violations, if there's any violations, the fines would be $1,500 per violation to the owner of the property. Those violations would be determined to be legitimate by either the police department or code enforcement. And after 3 violations to one property owner, the mercantile license would be revoked and they would no longer be able to have a short-term rental. They're recommending a minimum of a 4-night rental. It's now 2, so we're recommending that we double that to 4. Also, occupancy limits, 2 persons per bedroom plus 2. So a 2-bedroom home, you could rent to six residents. The properties that would be prohibited from short-term rentals would be basements, attics, trailers, swimming pools, individual rooms, or any accessory buildings. And also recommending that we add a 6% fee tax to the city on all rentals. I put a copy of this in everybody's file, so you have it. Tonight we just wanted to put this out there, discuss it, and give everybody time to come back at our next meeting and we can start making some decisions. But does anybody have any discussion on this?
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, please.
On a violation, if I understand this correctly, if you rent your home out, and for instance, you rent it to 4 people, and 15 show up, the owner of that property can come up and basically kick everybody out, keep everything that's in the home, and keep the rental, and that group has to leave. They cannot stay there, is my understanding. So if that were to happen, if they saw that there was something going on and they kicked those folks out, would they also then have to be charged the $1,500 if they realized that there was, 15 people showed up in a home of 4, and they took that step? Because I believe that's something that's in the agreement that you sign when you do an Airbnb. Is that correct?
Well, that would be,
So just wondering how that works.
yeah, that's,
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, because you were talking out that way, and I couldn't pick up what you had said at the beginning, but I got the general gist. Are you saying that if you throw the people out, then the $1,500 fine wouldn't apply?
Well, that's what I'm asking. For instance, if, you go to rent a home and a neighbor calls up and complains,
I got it.
you know.
That is such an overly broad question and can't be refined specifically. Depends on what action they took. And it's going to be depending upon what the recommendation is by the police or the code enforcement officer. If you throw them out after 1 week and there's been complaints continuously for a week,
Right.
what do you think the police officer may recommend? So what you're saying is like this. I think you have to look at each scenario. I mean, cops all the time make discretionary decisions out on the street relative to whether they give someone a ticket or not.
Right.
Code enforcement does the same type of thing. It's discretionary. So I don't think we can pigeonhole that into one little, this school is the way it's going to be. I think you have to leave it up to the discretion of the professionals that we hire here in town to enforce this.
and that's why the recommendation was made to have the professionals.
Right, but
just
let me
make that
fine tune this a
decision.
little bit, okay? So I rent my property out, and
You have a mercantile license?
I have a mercantile license, I followed everything proper. I rented out to 4 people, and 3 carloads of kids show up.
Yeah.
My neighbor calls me on the phone and says, "Hey, Joe, 3 carloads are here gonna pile into your house." I come over right away. I say, "Look, this is rented only to 4." They say, "Oh, no, we got our buddies here." I said, "No, you can't go in. I'm keeping your money, and anything you put in the house, I'm keeping." I haven't called the police at this point, because I, as the owner, can tell them they can't come into the property, based upon the rules that are set up by the Airbnb organization.
I hate to jump in, but then it wouldn't be a violation.
That's what I'm trying to get to. There's no violation. I kick them out, and it's done.
Well, the
You better
land,
call the police and take them with you if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
right,
Well,
yeah, I would.
That's why we have a police department.
well, I understand, but there are situations with
But if-
people that own
As
these
long as- I think
properties
as
where
long
they make
as
that
the-
decision.
As long as the landlord is doing what he's supposed to do, that's not a violation.
Right, okay, fine. I
That's
just wanted
my
to clear that up.
understanding, anyway.
Okay.
But if it's you, I would recommend the police arrest you.
I'm going to kick them out, I'm telling you right now. They'd be happy to see the police instead of my face.
I want to know what you're doing with your family if you're renting out your house at the same time. Are they there? No, that definitely.
That's a violation.
All right, all right.
Madam President?
Yes.
There's a lot to digest here, and I want to reserve my rights to continue to study this beyond this evening. But first thing, I know that this is a difficult and somewhat controversial subject, and I appreciate, apparently, there's been a pretty good effort here by the committee, and I thank you for that. I just have a couple of questions off the top, and starting from the bottom. Charge a 6% tax on all rentals. That 6% is completely a city tax, correct?
Correct, yes,
So there's a state tax or whatever other taxes would apply to that
right.
are also included, or whatever jurisdiction or
Right.
the state tax.
And am I
Tax
under,
attorney, so I don't know.
Yes.
Thank you.
and that gets paid through the third party, right? It gets paid through the third party
This
that
is-
they're listed with.
Yeah, it appears the way the law is written that if you're renting through Airbnb, they collect it and they send it to us. That's how it's currently being worked throughout the state, as I understand it. So,
But if you're not using one of those platforms and you're just renting a short-term rental, you're responsible to pay the tax to us?
I'm not sure if it applies under those circumstances. That was one of the issues here, because no one's really worked all this out. The state hasn't come out and given us any specific guidelines.
Well,
But,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
all right, I know you're excited.
Yes.
I'm not sure is the question, is the answer to your question, and we are going to look at that.
Sure. Well, intuitively, I would think it shouldn't matter.
Intuitively.
You would think.
that.
Right, but there'd be difficulty in collecting it
Yes.
without the platform.
If I could just jump in.
Sure.
If you don't mind. because
No,
one of
if-
the things is that if you're renting these things on the internet or.
Right,
We are going to require that the mercantile license be displayed in your advertising, so that we know, that way, when our code enforcement is looking through these things and saying, where are they in Summers Point, because they don't give an address.
right.
I don't know if anyone's.
You don't get an address till you
don't
pay.
get an
Yeah.
address until you go in and start clicking to see where you're getting it. And then you
Yes.
get the address after you've already committed to like 3 nights. And so code enforcement can't determine whether they're registered at the present time or not. So one of the things is we want them, you just, some people just post stuff out there on Facebook, rental.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't have a mercantile license. We posted, we eventually find out where they're at. They will get cited for this.
One of my pastimes is reading different articles about short-term rentals across the
noticed
country.
that
So, and I don't want to get too far, but on that subject, I know this is not New York City, but in New York City, they have a law now that if you're a platform and you advertise an illegal rental, you get fined, meaning Airbnb would get fined. The difficulty there is they have a complete registry and publish that registry of the legal rentals. So
Is that a municipality law or a state law?
it's a municipality law in New York City.
That's a
Now,
good
I would like to see that here, but, I mean, that may be difficult to do, but I will spend most of my Christmas vacation studying that and maybe recommending that. But I don't want to get,
We'll work on this together.
right, and there's all kinds of interesting things. And the interesting thing, and this is going to lead to my next question, in New York City, you can't have a short-term rental unless you live on the property.
Well, that was the same article that you.
Well, that's a different municipality, but this, it's
Yeah.
throughout the country, but I don't want to get too nerdy with it. My question here is, in that we have down here prohibited properties, individual rooms. So if I live in a property, and I don't know if this property exists in Summers Point, that has 5 rooms, and I can rent, and one of the rooms has a bathroom attached to it, and I could rent that room out, that's illegal? Under this proposal?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but, okay. But, I'll stop muttering around, and again, I'll reserve my right to continue to study this. Thank you.
Can I just ask one more thing?
Sure.
With that registry, wouldn't that also help prevent fraud for the general public, not to be caught in between? Just putting it out there.
Well,
I think that.
Because there are some
that Airbnb and
phishing scams out there,
VRBO.
just saying.
RBO are actually on top of that issue. We're just trying to get control of.
Right.
things there. We could pass
Sure.
An ordinance that says that these platforms are required to provide us with a list, and then when they don't comply, what do we do? You're gonna spend $50,000-$60,000 litigating an issue, and I'll be glad to do it for you, but I don't know whether, A, if you can legally require them to do that, and B, I don't know, who's gonna find them.
Well, what he's saying is fraud is if the place is enhanced or false advertised, right?
Correct, correct.
But
yeah,
that would be
that's-
between the renter and the rentee, so,
That's being displayed online.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Every place I've ever rented put it that way. Maybe you really can't fish off that dock.
You have to
Madam
hang off the
President,
balcony for the water view.
Madam President, and I just want to also, Mr. McGuigan, I think we want to be careful of quoting what New York City and New York does in terms of laws, because they do have some pretty crazy, stupid laws that they enforce on a regular basis that other companies just don't want to do business there because of the way they do things. An example would be, most life insurance companies in the United States won't sell a policy in the city, in the state. So we want to be careful when we pick a comparison. We want to look at comparisons that are, I think, more seasonal like we are in shore resorts and things of that nature. That's all.
Well, just one point, it's not unique to New York City, I just,
I understand.
because it's so,
One of the
Yeah, I-
examples, right.
It was a good article.
And in everybody's research, we've all looked at what other municipalities are doing and tried to
Right.
fit what works for us or what wouldn't work for us. That's the decisions we're trying to make here.
Like,
So-
things are different down here than they are in
Right.
North Jersey, so we
So
want to
the
make sure.
objection for tonight, this is why this is a lot, and this is a very important decision, what we decide to do moving forward. So that's why the objective tonight was to put this out there and get the feedback, and let's tweak it and come back and discuss it at the next meeting, so.
Okay.
So can I just get a clarification, that's how we're going to handle this, is next meeting?
The next
meeting
gen-
after that,
real-
at least you'll have some type of further discussion
Right.
before I start.
Before we do any ordinances changes or, yeah.
Councilmember Green, I get hired again.
we can all hope for a Christmas miracle. But just one last question, simple question, is the 6% tax dictated by the state?
That's the
Or is that,
original tax.
It's the same
okay,
as
that's the max?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, and that whole ordinance has to be rewritten.
Sure.
What we're hoping to accomplish is actually set this into one, right now it's intermingled with just general rentals. So we want to sort of bifurcate it from that, so that the thought is that when you come in to get your mercantile license, we can give you a copy of, here's the law on this, so that there's no excuse for any issues. I mean, from where we started to where we ended up this year, I think we increased the mercantile licenses because a lot of people didn't have them. And that is just, that's as a result of a lot of hard work from code enforcement going through this. And the more you can identify these places, then when the police show up, they already know that this is a,
Well, that was a suggestion of displaying the mercantile in the window so that if there was a complaint and the police show up, they know that it's a short-term rental. That was one of the challenges. They don't know when they get a complaint like that. The other challenge is to, we didn't really come up with a solution as to how we can inform the public whether we send something with your next tax bill. You know, if you have a short-term rental, these are the rules, you need a mercantile. Because a lot of landlords they just didn't know that they needed one. They just, so a lot of the ones that code enforcement has found, once he sends them a notice, they come in, they get it, it's not a big issue. So we just have that challenge also to make sure that people know what the rules are. So. Did I forget anything, Mr. Dill or
No, I think it's been covered.
Mr. DePamphlis? We're good?
Yep.
For public comment, we'll be open for public comment at the end. I'm sorry. Okay,
Okay.
are we good? We're good? Okay, thank you.
Making too much noise over there.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 10th, 2022 meeting, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. We're moving on to ordinance number 25.
Ordinance number 25 of 2022, an ordinance establishing a registry for business and rental insurance certificates in the city code.
May I have a motion to open for public comment on ordinance number 25?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now open for public comment on ordinance number 25 only. If you have a comment, please step forward. It's the ordinance for establishing a registry for business and rental insurance certificates in the city code. And this is a state mandated ordinance that we're required to do.
I can read it. Do you want me to
Yeah,
read it?
she can read it.
Okay, I'll read it. Whereas on August 5th, 2022, Governor Murphy signed into law PL 2022 C92 NJSA 40A:10A 1 and 2, which requires liability insurance for business owners and rental unit owners. Whereas the aforesaid legislation requires that each business and rental unit to annually register a certificate of insurance with the municipality in which the business or rental unit is located. The aforesaid legislation, and recognizing the additional burden imposed upon the municipalities in connection with the necessitated record-keeping, has authorized municipalities to enact by ordinance implementing a reasonable administrative fee for the registration of said insurance certificates. The aforesaid legislation became effective on November 3rd, 2022. 1, all business owners and owners of rental units shall register a certificate of insurance as required by the aforesaid legislation with the Office of the City Clerk on an annual basis on or before January 10th of each year. 2, an administrative fee of $150 shall be collected by the city clerk for the registration of all such insurance certificates. 3, any owner who fails to comply with the provisions of this ordinance shall be subject to fine of not less than $500 nor more than $5,000 for each violation. 4, any article, section, paragraph, subsection, clause, or other provision of the City of Summers Point Code inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance is hereby repealed to the extent of such inconsistency. If any section, paragraph, subsection, clause, provision of this ordinance shall be adjudged by a court of competent jurisdiction to be invalid, such adjudication shall apply to the section, paragraph, subsection, clause, or provision so adjudged by the remainder of this ordinance shall be deemed valid and effective. The amended ordinance shall take effect upon its final passage and publication as required by law.
Thank you.
So we're open.
Okay. Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now closed for public comment on ordinance number 25. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 25?
So moved?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance number 25 is adopted. We'll move on to resolutions. Madam Clerk?
Resolution number 223 of 2022, canceling certain capital improvement appropriation balances. Resolution number 224 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the cancellation of taxes pursuant to the Disabled Veterans Act for Block 1941, Lot 5.02. Resolution number 225 of 2022, authorization to apply for and accept a Neighborhood Preservation Program grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Resolution number 226 of 2022, budget appropriation transfer. Resolution number 227 of 2022. Oh, we pulled that one. Thank you. I'm sorry. Resolution number 228 of 2022, rejecting bids for Bay Avenue replacement lights. Resolution number 229 of 2022, authorizing a contract for appraisal services for litigation purposes. Resolution number 230 of 2022, authorizing purchase on state contract.
May I have a motion to open for public comment on resolutions only?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now open for public comment on resolutions only, any of these resolutions. If you have any comment, please step forward. Hearing none, could I have a motion to close?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now closed for public comment. Okay. Resolution number 223.
Resolution number 223 of 2022, canceling certain capital improvement appropriation balances.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Dill?
Yes.
Councilmember DePamphlis?
Yes.
Councilmember Bruno?
Yes.
Councilmember McCary?
Yes.
Councilmember Owen?
Yes.
Councilmember McGuigan?
Yes.
Council President Johnston?
Yes. Resolution number 223 is approved. Number 224.
Resolution number 224, 2022, a resolution authorizing the cancellation of taxes pursuant to the Disabled Veterans Act for Block 1941, Lot 5.02.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 224 is approved. Number 225.
Resolution number 225 of 2022, authorization to apply for and accept the Neighborhood Preservation Program grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 225 is approved. Number 226.
Resolution number 226 of 2022, budget appropriation transfer.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any comments? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember McGuigan?
Yes.
Councilmember Owen?
Yes.
Councilmember McCary?
Yes.
Councilmember Dill?
Yes.
Councilmember DePamphlis?
Yes.
Councilmember Bruno?
Yes.
Council President Johnston?
Yes. Resolution number 226 is approved. Number 228.
Resolution number 228 of 2022, rejecting bids for Bay Avenue replacement lights.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 228 is approved. Number 229.
Resolution number 229 of 2022, authorizing a contract for appraisal services for litigation purposes.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 229 is approved. Number 230.
Resolution number 230 of 2022, authorizing purchase on state contract.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Resolution number 230 is approved. Anyone have any old business to discuss?
Madam President, I'd just like to mention that over this past year, we did take the time and effort to get some ideas on where we could locate a dog park and the cost of it, and I'd like to see us finish that effort in 2023. We did our due diligence, I should say Greg did his due diligence on getting pricing, so I believe we're in a position to move forward and really knock out the location that we've considered and make sure it's acceptable to everyone. That's all I have on old business.
Any other old business? Okay. New business. Our reorganization meeting for 2023 will be on January 6th, Friday, January 6th of 2023. 7 PM. Can I have approval to waive raffle fees for the American Legion pool tab licenses? Everybody okay with waiving the fees?
Sure.
Yes.
Approval for a social affairs permit for 609 Cornhole, New Jersey, Inc., for an event on January 6, 2023, from 5 PM to 12 AM, and on January 7th, 2023, from 10 AM to 8 PM. Is all their paperwork in order?
Yes.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
I have an item on new business that we should at least consider moving forward. Two items, in fact. One is that we should, and I know we started this effort within the city of looking for a place where we can charge EVs, and we're looking at something outside near City Hall. I think it's a good idea to look in that area to do that. I think looking at EVs as a way to save some money in the future, if we have a vehicle that needs to be replaced, we should at least consider to see if it meets the requirements that the city would have for something like that, if it's just a transportation mode, to see if it works out well for us and if the cost is there. And because moving forward, obviously, they tend to be less expensive long-term than a gas-powered car. The other item I will mention is that, and this is for everyone, this is for the citizens as well as for, I think, all the employees, we've got to be careful because of something called TikTok. We've been hearing a lot about it lately, and the federal government has now taken the steps to make sure that the TikTok app is not on any of the cell phones or within the federal jurisdiction of applications, and the state's going to move in that direction. And I think that we should just make sure that our employees and understand what that application can do. You can be hacked very easily through that application. It's set up by a government that's not friendly to us, and it's used for other purposes. So I just want to make sure we educate ourselves on what that TikTok app is and make sure that our kids understand what it is so that we don't use something that's going to create a problem for us in the future.
Thank
That's all
you.
I have.
Could I just ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
When you mentioned EVs.
Yeah.
Electric vehicle charging stations.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a charging station for the public or a charging station for us, the municipality, to then purchase electric vehicles?
I think both should come into consideration. I
Okay.
think we should look at one for us to use if we buy, obviously, a vehicle.
Sure.
But I think we also should think about what we could do about adding a EV charging station in the city. It would be worthwhile for the city to do
No,
that.
I agree. I know that, and Greg, maybe jump in, some of the planning projects are beginning to require that. I don't know if
Yeah.
we've done that
Yes.
here. And I'd like to work on, there was some discussion, or there's a house, a home in the Bay District that has an electric car but doesn't have a driveway. And I hate to reference another big city, but Philadelphia has a setup where you can put a charging station within the government strip. And I'd like to work on that, but
All right, I would
not
also, I
gonna
think
do
it's
that tonight.
important for us to look at that sort of
Yeah.
thing right now.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
it's definitely an issue.
Council President, as far as electric stations are concerned, I believe the steering committee is already looking at and applied for a grant to offset the cost of putting charging stations in the city at various locations.
Right.
Great.
So we are ahead of the game on that. We've already been looking at it.
And I believe the locations were here and down by the marina, or the public, municipal parking lots,
Right.
yeah.
Down at
Kennedy Park,
Summers Mansion.
Summers Mansion, right, behind the mansion, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we're
Good.
working on it.
We're on it.
Are you on the steering committee, Joe? I forget.
I steer, yes.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was looking at TikTok.
Couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I almost fell for that. Okay.
Okay, okay. I would just like to make a couple comments. I'd like to just end this year talking about some of the things that we did get accomplished. We know we have a lot of work ahead of us, but there's a lot of good things did happen in 2022, and I just want to take a couple minutes of your time to just go through them real quick. We negotiated a pilot agreement with the Summers Point Apartments, and this is a really good opportunity for the city, and not just financially, although that is a big part of it, but also to improve improve the living requirements there in that apartment complex for the residents. Their quality of life will be much improved when they get done with all the improvements that they've agreed to in this agreement. So I'm pretty proud of that one that we negotiated. We spent several months on that, along with our professionals and the committee and the council. So I do want to commend all of council for that.
I hate to interrupt you, but I don't want you to bury the lead. That's a revenue positive for us.
It's definitely a big revenue positive for the next 30 years, yes. We also did bargaining for 3 separate units of the PBA, concluding with a multi-year contract. I believe they're all 3-year contracts, so we did that as well. Negotiated 3 redevelopment agreements that are actually going to come to fruition. Pleasant Avenue, I'm sure everyone's noticed that the 5 boarded up houses are all gone, and that development has started with 12 new homes there and a parking lot for the residents across the street. Also, the Paddle Club, that will come to fruition in 2023 down on Bay Avenue. And the Aldi supermarket, it's going to take a little bit longer, but that's also another one redevelopment that we negotiated. We had a very successful farmers market this summer, and for our first summer, it was thanks to our volunteers and the MPP grant, it was successful. So I'm pretty proud of that too at the mansion. And I do want to also, we also have been working with Egg Harbor Township very closely on our ambulance service. And the beginning of the year, or actually the end of last year, they agreed to hire more full-time EMTs, which they did. And then we also got them to agree to, when they do come to Summers Point, they actually are stationed right here at our City Hall in our emergency management office. They're using that office for in between their calls so that they are here in Summers Point already. And it's worked out well for both us and them, for them to get to the other side of Egg Harbor Township over the Longport Bridge and Skullville area. It's worked out really well rather than going all the way back into the township and then get a call. And so we're hoping for some big improvements on response times. I want to publicly thank all of our volunteers. It's amazing, all of the events that we do here in Summers Point. The list is very, very long, and but it's all done by our committees, and they're all volunteers, and our council works with all of these committees. And we had some really, all of our events are very successful. They bring a lot of people to our town, and they support our businesses here. So I'm pretty proud of that, and I thank all of our volunteers that they work really hard. These events are very big, and they've all been very, very successful. And that's all I have.
Council President?
Yes.
Also like to thank, part of my committee is Economic Development. Great volunteer in the audience tonight, John Helbig. He's president of Economic Development. He's been very good at making Summers Point a bike-friendly community here in town. We have some new bike racks, if you haven't noticed, throughout various locations in town. And he's also a strong asset. I mean, as a city planner, he's worked with the county as well as the state in trying to help us get various grants with Greg and Jason. Real team player. I'd like to say thank you with that.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Madam President. Charlie, would you mind standing up there in the back? a little surprised. This is Charlie Habercorn. He is on the school board. This is the first time that I remember we've had a member on the school board who is going to help us get things under control, hopefully, but help us understand what's going on there. We haven't had that for a very long period of time. So I wanted to point him out. So if you have any questions about school board issues, go to him, don't come to me, all right? He's the guy you talk to all the time. Charlie, congratulations on a great, great fight.
Thank you. Yeah. Another volunteer job, so. Yeah, I just wanted to point out some of these things because I know that, you see us up here every other week, and this council does a lot more than just come to a meeting every other week. There's a lot of committee meetings, phone calls, emails, communications. So I just wanted to point out some of the accomplishments and thank everyone for all your hard work. Okay, discussion of the bills, Mr. Frost.
So this evening, we have a bill list in $1,670,189.17, as well as some record payments dated November 14th, 23rd, as well as December 9th, that total $4,346,398.22.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a motion to open for public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, anyone from the public who wishes to speak, please step forward and state your name and address for the record.
3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. See, I was getting a little worried when I saw the entire room filling up with people. I didn't know what you're walking into. My name's Joe Haas. I'm here from Planet Networks. See, earlier,
And your address, please?
I actually live in Cumberland County.
That's okay.
So it's
We just need your address for the record,
Sure,
that's
it's
all.
536 Barrett's Run Road in Bridgeton.
Thank you. And just so everyone's aware, we have a
Yeah, 3
3 minutes, if
Yes.
you could keep it
I
to
just
that, we'd
wanted to come in
appreciate
and
it.
put my name to a face.
Okay.
So earlier, I sent Ms. Samuelson a blanket resolution seeking right-of-way consent along the roads here in the municipality. So Planet Networks is a fiber optic to the home internet provider. So we will be running fiber optic cables throughout the area. We're actually starting up in Northfield. Our resolution was passed earlier this week. I was at Linwood last night, and we'll be working our way right on down. So at the end of the meeting, I have a stack of business cards. If anybody ever has any questions with anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you very much.
I got a
Thank
question
you.
for you.
Sure.
What does it mean to me, a homeowner, when you run this cable? What benefit is it to me?
All right, are you happy with your internet that you have now?
No.
Okay, well, now you'll have an option.
Oh, that's what I want to
This
find
is
out.
almost, if you're familiar with Verizon Fios,
Yes.
it's the same exact service, but we're not Verizon. We're a small New Jersey company.
Right.
We started up north 30 years ago, and we're continuing working our way down. So it's something for the residents. We run circles around cable. They can't compare with us, price-wise and performance-wise.
Okay, all right, good.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello. My name is Jill Middleton. I'm from Four Horter Avenue. Just 2 questions in regards to short-term rentals. Will motels be classified as short-term rentals with the following restrictions, including but not limited to room rentals, the $1,500 fine with the 3 strikes you're out rule, 6% tax, and the 4-night minimum apply to the motels?
They have their own,
No.
You asked 4 different questions.
Well, the restrictions all roll up to,
Not all the
yeah, okay,
restrictions will apply.
okay,
Okay, they're categorized differently under the law.
okay.
That's the first thing. The 6%, they are required.
they already pay that.
Very clear.
And I didn't pick up on it earlier because I was facing council. There really isn't a whole lot out there. Our legislature has not done anything with this short-term rentals in the state of New Jersey yet. So every municipality seems to be trying to do it.
Makes sense. Totally get it. And just the other thing I wanted to call out, as a single homeowner, purchased my home in 2018 on my own. Moved all around the country, working in the casino industry, kind of busting my butt, and I wanted to come to Summers Point. In doing so, there was a lot of work that needed to be done to the house, and I'm happy to say Airbnb was able to fund that. Reinvested it right back into my house. I spent nearly about $8,000 on a beautiful Trex deck out back, and the city came and shut my job down. It was replacing a deck. Per the state and local municipality laws, I was legally able to do that. However, the city shut me down. When I called the code enforcer, he said, no, this is what it is. And I said, I'm citing you the state law, the local municipality, and according to this, I'm legally able to do this. We went back and forth. Finally, probably not the best group to say this to, nothing happened. I moved on. But per the laws, I seem to be in the right. My question is that when the code enforcer and law enforcement come and make discretionary calls on who knows what is going to happen, what rules are in place or will be in place, and maybe it's too early to answer this, to make sure it's fair to the public? Because in that instance, it was illegal. So I just wanted to see where the council sat with the making sure everything's in order as far as making things fair for the residents.
Let me just respond to that. You have the right of appeal to the county relevant construction issues. That's your legal right. So
Okay.
if you're asking a legal question of a body that may not understand that, but that's your right. You're entitled to your opinion as to whether it's legal or not, and that is why you have the right of appeal to any decision made by code enforcement.
Okay.
And if I could, I just want to make a comment on the thought process behind that, having our professionals make that determination. One of the many, many comments from the public was that, what if, I have a neighbor who doesn't like me and just calls the police on me every single weekend when I have my house rented? And so, and without making it the discretion of the professionals, that would be considered a violation every time somebody calls and complains. So
Right.
that's what we wanted to alleviate. That was the thought process behind that suggestion.
Yeah, I just feel that it would be best if there's some just basic parameters in place instead of just kind of putting it out.
Well, there already are laws, so.
Right, and just outlining it specifically to short-term rentals, these things would be a violation.
It's all right.
Let me respond if I may.
Okay.
If you get cited, you're going to go to a municipal court hearing. Okay, there's due process.
Okay, that was an outlet,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this isn't you get the penalty and there's no due process. You have the right to have a hearing in front of the judge.
Okay,
You have the right to appeal that decision to the Superior Court. You have the right to then appeal that decision to the appellate division. So you have a remedy. This isn't the Gestapo coming in and saying you have to do something. That's relative to the $1,500 fine.
Right.
And as I already pointed out, your issue with your deck, and I've been doing this now for 35 years as an attorney, that I do find that someone gives us a version, and I appreciate and respect that you are going to tell us your version. But if I went next door and I talked to code enforcement, they may say something different. So I have to listen to both sides.
right,
So you have the right to appeal a decision made by our code enforcement office, just so you're aware of that.
right. It was just an example of,
Yeah.
you know,
I just want you to be aware, you have a right to appeal something.
Right.
You want to build a deck, they deny it, you have a right to appeal.
yeah,
It's that simple.
replacement, but yeah, because they're decaying boards, but
No, I don't-
if you want to get it, but I'm just saying the
telling you,
examples.
You're asked a
Right,
question, so you have to ask two questions
Right.
on enforcement issues, and there's your response to both. There is due process, and we're required by the U.S. Constitution, the New Jersey Constitution, to provide due process.
just wanted to make sure, because it didn't sound like there was any parameters, I just wanted to make sure that they would be outlined.
So
Thank you.
you can always retain a lawyer, just remember that.
Hi, good evening. Catherine Powers, 12 Crestview Drive. Okay, so I have a question in reference to the insurance certificate. Is that in addition to the mercantile license? Meaning
That's a s-
150 for this, 150 for that,
Yes.
250 for this? I have a question.
That was mandated by the state, that's
Okay,
not us.
that's
Okay.
Fine. Do you know what the current cost of the mercantile license is now? I believe it's $100, is that close to true?
For what? For short term? For short term?
For your mercantile license at this point in time?
For a short-term rental,
Short-term rental.
100.
$100.
So we have a 50% increase in 1 year?
These are recommendations, so, these are all recommendations.
Okay,
Nothing's been
recommendations,
written in
okay.
stone yet.
I have a recommendation. The reason people's addresses are not posted on Airbnb, et cetera, as you wish us to do, is a safety issue. It's a safety issue. So if you put our address out there, that flags us as potentially a vacant property that anybody could break into, vandalize, et cetera. I don't see the point. You're gonna go find us anyway, because we already have a mercantile license. Why do we have to post it on Airbnb? I'm not putting my address out there. That's number one. Number two, I feel that the 4-night rental minimum is punitive. You do not require your motels to do a 4-night minimum, I believe. Is that true?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so that's discriminatory against us. Another thing, $1,500 for each violation. Do you charge that to long-term rentals when the police arrive?
Depends on whether they're sites now.
Well, I can tell you, my short-term rental is across from a long-term rental. And the police, my short-term rental resides across the street from a long-term rental. The police
Again, these
were
are all
there.
just suggestions,
The
so
police were there.
we
Well, I'm just
appreciate your
saying
input,
that.
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
The police were there every other day for domestic violence, and those people still live there. Okay? So I don't believe I believe what you're trying to do to us is discriminatory. You're singling out a group of people because you don't want it, and that's not fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can just make a comment. I had already given everyone a federal case, you'll recall, a couple months ago, that dealt with the fact that the issue of discrimination relative to time period of rental was dismissed. The court just took short notice of it and said, it's not discriminatory, it's not a taking of these people's property. They have the right to rent it out. So I just would like to point that out for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Melendez. I am a property owner at 130 Bala. I am also a short-term rental owner, specifically running through Airbnb. I only advertise through Airbnb because I trust their platform. I trust their vetting process. We also only specifically focus on families. We are not driven towards parties or anything of that nature. We ensure that our tenants are aware that we have cameras outside the property to ensure that there is no issues. Should there be, as the example stated previously, 15 individuals that arrive when really we can only house 6 individuals. We have gone through the process that has been established by the city, which is the mercantile license. We've had our property inspected. We have our mercantile license displayed. We have fire extinguishers in place. We are very proud of the property that we have. We are very proud owners. My concern, as echoed previously, is displaying our address. The property was completely renovated, and it's fully furnished for anybody to go in. I display my property address, that could lead to increase in police activity, which is what I believe the council's trying to deter at this point, based off, I guess, some data that was perhaps presented to you guys by the police department. So that would be my concern, number one. And I know that you guys are looking at this recommendations that hasn't been implemented at this time, but I would like for the council to review that and to really consider, number one, the safety of our neighbors around us, and for the property owners ourselves as well, for any undue harm or undue expenses that we may exhibit due to the result of exposing our address out there. And then just one additional question. Did your research indicate that if a client stays or a tenant stays for 4 nights instead of 2 nights, would there be a reduction in police activity?
I
to
don't-
whoever.
Here's the issue that you just, and the woman before you just raised relative to the address. At the present time, the police department is unaware showing up at parties or problems as to whether or not it's even a short-term rental. They show up, they say, whose house is this? And someone will say it's mine, whether they own it or not. And they don't know it's a short-term rental. So we don't have any specific data on that. We're trying to refine this so that we can actually address some of the issues. That's the address, so that we do know when an officer shows up, we have a problem. And we know who is actually causing the problem, is it a tenant versus an owner. Because 90% of the noise complaints or issues with trash and debris generally aren't cited by an officer in this town. They're usually told, stop, they leave, if noise persists, they'll come back a second time and they'll shut it down. But if you're a neighbor to something like that, you don't appreciate, A, the first time, you don't appreciate the second time. At least this way, this will give us the opportunity really to have the police department to then say this is a complaint at a property that is operated as a business. So it gives the city the ability to determine what are we actually looking at. But 4 nights was an attempt to try to do away with sort of the animal houses.
Parties?
Have been occurring on weekends.
Right.
And it's pretty obvious that some of them occur. And it's also the people who dump all their trash out on a Monday morning that doesn't get picked up till Wednesday. And the neighbors have to deal with that also. So it was felt that perhaps we could get rid of some of the animal houses that had sprung up. There are a few in town.
Right. So I don't know if you're open to suggestions or not, but
That's what
given.
we're here for.
I'm sorry?
That's what we're here for.
Okay. Given the fact that it's tough times right now, families want to take some vacations. They can't afford to go to Florida. They can't afford to take their kids to Disney, but they can come to Ocean City. They can come to Summers Point. And if we are increasing the time that they have to stay by 2 more nights, they're going to be deterred from wanting to come over here. And in exchange, go to the local restaurants, go to the grocery store, go to the local shops. I feel that it would really deter individuals, and they would be more inclined to go further down south, go perhaps down to Villas. Villas is seeing a huge increase on short-term rentals. Wildwood, all these North Wildwood, all these places, they also operate short-term rentals, and they have a 2-night occupancy minimum. At times, they may even have 1 night. Wildwood is known historically for more of that party town, but that's why I did not invest in that location, because I did not want to attract that type of tenant. So I would just say if you guys could consider perhaps leaving it at 2 nights and adding additional, what was indicated, additional sanctions or infractions should the trash be left out X amount of time, when it's not supposed to be left out for so long. I think that it would be a fair compromise, just to see where things go from 2023, 2024. And I don't know if you guys are open to having some of us, Airbnb hosts, attend some of your meetings in order to bounce ideas back from each other, I think I would personally be interested in participating in that, should you guys want us in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, just a point of order. When we ask for an address, it's where you reside, correct?
I'm sorry,
When they state their address, it should be the address they reside in?
correct.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Jenna Sullivan. I'm at 137 Gibbs. I just have 3 topics. Well, first, thank you for all you do for the town. I've been to a lot of the volunteer events in the town, and they are wonderful, so thank you for that. One, I agree with the 2 prior comments. I do not want to put my address out there. I am someone that I live at that property. My Airbnb is in a separate building. I have a young child and a second one on the way. I do not want that to be full-fledged out there, to be completely honest with everybody. That's one. Two, in regards to the 4-day minimum, I guess, is the precedent there because you're gonna get the 6% tax that you get more money since it's 4-day minimum? No?
No.
No, it was more about,
Not
it was more about the partiers, about,
Okay.
Saturday night parties or whatever. It was more about that.
Okay. Interesting. And now my third topic is passing me. Oh, no, I just wanted to wrap back to the community events that I've been part of and visited. We, at our Airbnb, look into those who have signed up to stay with us. We make sure they have a good track record. We communicate thoroughly with them. And we actually recommend community events like the ones you're discussing for them to go and visit. And a lot of the visitors enjoy them. If we totally cut this out, or as she had mentioned, break it down from 2 nights to 4 nights, why won't they just go stay in Ocean City? Why won't they go stay in Wildwood? We're deferring them from coming to Summers Point, which we have this historical district. It's beautiful, it's walkable, the bike paths, everything here is phenomenal. And if you have a dog, which we are pet friendly, the community here is great with animals. So overall, I just think we're deferring people too much to go to neighboring cities and instead of staying right here in Summers Point. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Gabriel, 8 Gardenia Drive, Egg Harbor Township. I would like to know if a crime is being committed, it doesn't matter if it's your home and you're having a party for your grandkids and your neighbor calls the police on you. Same difference. If there's a crime being committed, you're charged with that crime. We shouldn't be discriminated because we rent, or the short-term rental people, I don't own one, I represent them and support them. And we have a Summers Point, what is it, a $3.5 million police budget? How many this summer did police go out to short-term rentals compared to your home or someone else's home, the bars, marriage disputes? I don't think, how many Airbnbs are there, 26? I don't think we need a $3.5 million police force, and they're not the problem in Summers Point. We got drugs and many other issues. But you're making it sound like as soon as the police goes out, anyone can call the police on you. They don't like you. I lived on Laurel Drive for 7 years. They called it 3 times for my dog for barking. The police officer said I should charge them with harassment, file a complaint, because it was bogus. You just got to be careful. You're discriminating against a certain group. You're making $1,500 judgment. The police cannot remove someone from a property if they're not doing anything wrong. And you just, really need to think about even a $1,500 fines. Like, do you charge that for everyone else? A liquor store fails. Police come to the bar and the Anchorage 3 times. Are they going to get fined, or their license going to be taken away? Like, who's going to decide that? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Richard Ingman. I live in Washington Township, New Jersey, and my Summers Point home is on Massachusetts Ave. So what we're really dealing here isn't a short-term rental, it's a human behavioral issue caused by people who rent short-term rentals. Does anybody want to clarify that?
That's your opinion. You can
Okay.
say whatever your opinion
Okay.
is, sir.
Thank you very much. By the way, I don't rent things, Tom. I rent a house. That's my opinion. As a homeowner in Summers Point, I am here to express my concern about the recent discussions regarding short-term rentals in our community. The availability and potential to rent short-term rentals was an important factor in our decision to purchase our future retirement home. I understand that there may be some specific issues related to a few outliners in the short-term rental market, However, I believe that these should be dealt with on a case-by-case basis, using the local ordinances and enforcement mechanisms that are already in place. I do not believe that blaming the entire short-term rental market for the actions of a few is an effective or fair solution. Furthermore, I believe that the short-term rental market is an important part of the history, economy of New Jersey, and particularly beach towns like Summers Point. It provides much-needed financial support to local businesses, helps to sustain our community. We do not want to see this market threatened by misguided efforts to address the issues of a few individuals. As elected officials, I believe you have a duty to serve the entire taxpaying community of Summers Point. I ask that you carefully consider the impact of any decisions related to short-term rentals on all residents and visitors who enjoy the beauty, tranquility of our community. I hope that you will engage in a transparent, open dialogue with all the stakeholders, including short-term rental owners like ourselves, to develop a plan that benefits everyone. Thank you for considering our perspective.
Thank you.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I've sent 3 correspondents and I haven't heard back yet.
Okay, but and you bought this last year?
I bought this last year or 2 years ago.
And I'm just.
Does that have any weight on my ability to speak?
No,
Okay.
no, no, not at all.
And in 2022, did you purchase a mercantile license in the beginning of the year?
I purchased a mercantile license when it was brought to my attention.
See, that just addresses some of the issues of concern of council, is that we aren't finding who is actually renting to impose a mercantile fee. So how did you find out about,
I was notified by someone.
Code enforcement.
yeah, so, I mean, see,
So-
When we did apply for the license, we were given a license and we did pass the inspection.
the whole thing is that we want to make sure that the
I-
public
I-
understands that.
I understand completely. It's not me against you. It's not us against you. We do this to supplement our income, I do it for a place to retire, and it brings business to the economy. I'm a small local businessman up in North Jersey, okay? I know what it takes to survive. I worked 10 hours today and I drove 3 hours to be here, okay?
Thank you, thank you. We appreciate your input. That's what we wanted, that's what tonight is about.
I just think that we need some kind of written, of the vagueness of this is just, you just mentioned the pool.
Right.
What is a pool? I mean, I know what a pool is.
If you have a
I
swimming pool and if you look on Airbnb, you'll see advertised, people rent their swimming pools for parties.
So you will not be able to rent your swimming pool
No.
as a isolated unit?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. What would the estimated period of time to remediate violations by renters be? When someone calls the police and the police come to the house, how much time do you have to remedy the situation? I think,
That's up to the police. That's all individual situations, and it's the profession. We're leaving that when the police come to your house. They're the ones that are going to decide whether or not you get cited or not. So.
The municipality can already revoke your mercantile license. That's why we handled it as a mercantile license. So I represent a municipality that revoked a liquor license, businesses mercantile license, that are not in operation anymore.
okay.
I've done that here when I was the prosecutor here. We had a hearing before this body, and this body revoked a mercantile license for a business. So we can already do that, and we don't have to, we don't have to give it 3 strikes, we don't have to do the code enforcement can say we can, mercantile license should be revoked. So this just sort of gives it a little.
With due process?
Of course.
You just understood what I said. You have a hearing before this body, for the mercantile application. They sit as the judiciary, so to speak.
Yes. The answer is yes, with due process. Of course. Yes.
Is there any clarification on the age limits for 2 + 2 + 2? Do small children count? Minors under 12?
It's 2 people.
I have
Bodies.
2 families, each bring 2 kids with them, that's 8. So they can't rent the house.
Well, how many bedrooms do you have?
It's a 2-bedroom.
No.
So there's no age for minors under
That-
12?
Again, these are all recommendations, so this is a good point that you're making, and we'll definitely add that to our list of considerations. These are just recommendations, and we appreciate the owners coming in and telling us the other side of it. That's what we need to know.
We need to have an open voice in the presence, not just coming up here and, it's not us against you. I don't why we get this feeling.
No, I don't have that feeling at all.
Yeah, I know. I thank you very much for this. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're giving your commentary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can we get a copy of what you listed as far as?
Again, this is not, it's not written in stone, and we have
Okay,
not
so
made any
In order
decisions.
to address it, we need to listen, formulate an opinion, and jump up here on the fly.
Council President, point of order. 3 minutes is up.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't allow you.
Dave, thank you for
anymore,
my more than 3 minutes.
but Thank you. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Bob Whitedell, 2 Wesley Avenue, Ocean City. Just wanted to just voice my opinion. Summers Point's a great town. I'm a realtor in Ocean City. I do short-term rentals all the time. And it comes down to bad owners that have party houses in Ocean City, and there's issues and there's problems. It comes down to bad owners. We stop renting them. So, same thing over here. I mean, love Summers Point, plan on opening a business over here. And you know, short-term rentals here, I mean, the slogan is, you know, the short starts here in Summers Point. I think by banning short-term rentals, you're hurting some of the businesses in here, bars, restaurants, businesses in town along the Bay Historic District. It's just my opinion. I appreciate you listening to that. One question I have is, say a motel's got 44 rooms and they use the Airbnb platform. Are they under all these same, they're booking their rooms through Airbnb. They can't do 4-night minimums. And if a couple bad
Hotels
seeds
are under
pull up
different-
and the police are come and they're getting $1,500 violations times 44 rooms, I mean, that's an overstretch, but what do you think?
Ma-
I think that's not gonna happen.
I mean, the motel is, but they'll use the platform. The platform is an amazing vehicle.
It's not the use of the platform, sir. It's, you can advertise however you want to advertise.
It's Uber for your house. Yeah.
Hotels can advertise however they want to advertise. Hotels are statutorily different than this. And this is the issue here, is that there is no legislation on this. The legislation has not moved on this, so it's just sort of an open area as to what to do.
Yeah.
Generally, the market will straighten it out as it goes along. A town such as Ocean City is definitely, with the tax rate under and the amount of police on there, and having
Agreed.
Drew Russell sit as your municipal court judge, who's gonna whack people left and right, that town doesn't tolerate issues. It just doesn't.
No, and you're right. Their motels are terrible in Ocean City. It's a 5-star town. Motels are 2, 3 stars. So Airbnbs are flourishing over there. And it is like a hotel. Come in for a night, 2 night. People can't stay the 7-day real estate, Saturday to Saturday. That's it. So, I mean, I do it for a living, so I'm just giving you my opinion.
This is just a discussion, and it was raised again tonight, and it will be raised again at the next.
And I'm local, and I would love to volunteer to come in to, you know, be reasonable. People know
We've
me.
listened,
You guys
we've listened,
put-
we've received hundreds of letters and correspondence on all sides of this issue, so that's what we're trying to consider.
Down at a committee, if you want to open it up to somebody else, I'd love to, you know, give you my opinion. And it's
Thank you.
reasonable, and I do have some professional real estate background in there and history. So
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
sir.
Motion to close?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now closed for public comment. Could I have a motion for payment of the bills, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we can pay the bills. Any other comments from council?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd just like to comment on the short-term rental thing. The Committee for Short-Term Rentals worked very hard on this. A few meetings ago, we had 30 people in here begging us to shut it down totally. The committee didn't think that was fair. What they came up with was a compromise to not shutting it down totally. And like the Madam President said, these are recommendations right now. They're not set in stone. So we're going to listen to everybody, and I guarantee you, the next time you come, there'll be 30 people sitting in here yelling to shut it down. We don't need it. That's just the way that's the way it's falling. Like it or not, there's people that are dead set against it. I'm done.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
Council President, just a word on this short-term rental. These are, and I think it's been said on several occasions, these are only recommendations. And correct me if I'm wrong, number one, there was no discussion by this committee about banning short-term rentals, okay? This is, like the councilman said, a compromise from banning it or putting a 30-day minimum on it, which would basically ban it, okay? So we've come up with a compromise, but the process will be, and hopefully early next year, we will discuss it with council. We will come up with a introduction of an ordinance. We'll have a second reading on an ordinance. At that time, the public will be able to discuss the ordinance. And then after the first reading, it'll be open to the public to get copies so that they can review it. Am I right? Correct. Okay. So this isn't something that's cast in stone. And like Council President said, we've received literally hundreds of letters and petitions and things of that nature. We have a pretty good understanding of what the people really want. What it basically comes down to is this council agreeing on something that's fair and equitable to both sides of the taxpayers who want short-term rentals and also the taxpayers who do not want short-term rentals. We're trying to come up with a compromise, and that's our job, and that's what I intend to do, and I think that's what the rest of council intends to do. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Just a word. I want to thank you for coming out tonight on this stormy night to get your opinion and understand your situation as business owners and what you're dealing with. And the only way we're going to come up with a great solution is for people like you to come in and give us an idea what's going on in the business so that we can become more educated. We're going to work hard to get a good solution for everybody. So we just have to take it down a notch and stay focused. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Mr. McGuigan, did you want
Huh?
You look like you wanted to say
Oh,
something.
no.
He's a happy man.
No?
I make them.
Okay.
No, hey, it's a process.
Okay. Yes, I think everyone has,
Yeah.
There's a, you know, we had a fine example at the top of the meeting here, and you know, it's, if you have a chance to do something nice for somebody, do it.
yes, I will say happy holidays to everyone, and please be safe wherever you're going or staying. And
Merry Christmas.
we'll see you January 6th. Mr. Mayor, all right?
That's it.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks for being here.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I got the head too, probably. Yes, Mayor.
You talk to someone first.
I'm going to open a pizza shop right now.
Please.
I don't care.
Okay, I just want you to know.
You don't know when you'll be back?
It's funny.
Are you happy?
When they-
You're not happy.
People shut it down.
Okay.
Are they selling tickets?
Okay. Well, good luck. And if you need anything, I'm only a phone call away. My wife's only a phone call away, and she's a nurse.
They died.
Yes, she is.
Great job, my son.
Is she near?
Do I have to smile? Funny vision to see me now.
Oh, she's seen me, mate, so you don't have anything to